I'm the guy who cooks for families, but I don't have one myself. I live alone, and there are times when I just crave beef, and this is such a great deal, the beef cube for stew. But I'm not gonna make all of this for stew. I'm gonna actually make 3 separate recipes, which is why something like this should never be overlooked for a single person, because with this one little packet costing under $8, I'm gonna make 3 different meals, delicious, and more importantly, economical for single dinners. Using a pound of packaged cubed beef for stew, use a third of the pound for the stew itself, reserving the other portion for a future meal. To make the beef stew, simply season the meat with salt, pepper, as well as some all-purpose flour. In a medium-sized pot, heat about a teaspoon of olive oil. Cook the beef in the hot oil until brown on both sides. While that's browning up, prepare the other ingredients. A half of an onion, cubed, 3 small carrots, peeled and cubed, as well as a handful of mushrooms. Add that to the entire pot, and then add a small bottle of red wine. To that, add 2 cups of beef broth. Season with salt, pepper, and a tablespoon of ketchup. Add 2 teaspoons of dry Italian seasoning and 2 bay leaves, which you have to remove before eating it. While this stew continues to cook out, you can either eat this tonight or you can save it and share it with a friend. But remember, we've got a couple more meals out of this cube beef, and meal number 2 is gonna be a Filipino, see what I did there? Cheesesteak sandwich, and this is where you get the frustrations out because you get a chance to use your little meat mallet. So let's get started on this Filipino cheesesteak sandwich. To make your Filipino cheesesteak sandwich, simply take some of the cubed meat and place it on a plastic cutting board and cover that with plastic wrap. Using a meat mallet to tenderize the beef, you're going to simply pound it lightly into thin minute steaks. Remove the plastic and season with salt, pepper, and a pinch of garlic powder. In a frying pan, heat about 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Add the beef and cook for about a minute on each side and remove and let it rest for a few moments. In that same pan, you're going to cut a quarter of the onion that you used in the previous recipe and cut that thinly. Add that into the pan itself, and then you're going to do the same thing with some of the mushrooms. Toss that all together and season with a pinch of salt and pepper. To make the cooking process even easier, I add about a tablespoon of mayonnaise to the pan and stir that all together. In that same pan, I'll even make room to warm up my hoagie roll. Next, I'll top it off with about 2 to 3 slices of American cheese and allow that to melt. Once the cheese is melted and the hoagie roll is warmed up, simply assemble this Filipino cheesesteak. It will be messy, but it will be worth it. So now you've got this messy but delicious Filipino sandwich with that cubed meat. We've still got another meal, but this is one you definitely want to eat quick. This next meal is gonna be another inspired home dish. It's gonna be pan-fried steak over top some rice with some more caramelized onions and mushrooms. You see, nothing is going to waste. And that one package of meat stretched out for 3 delicious meals. And you even have enough to share with a friend with that stew. But right now, I'm eating this. To make this pan fry, stir fry, use the remaining beef cubes and cut into thin strips. In a small saute pan, heat a teaspoon of butter over medium heat. Season the meat with about a teaspoon of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. To make this a little different, add a hint of cinnamon and a couple pinches of paprika. Mix that all together and saute in the pan until it browns. Use the remaining onion and cut it into thin strips. Quarter the mushrooms and add that into the pan. And to the pan, add a teaspoon of soy sauce, a pinch of red pepper flakes, as well as a teaspoon of red wine vinegar. Stir that all together and serve over with white rice and some fresh herbs like cilantro. So do y'all remember that inexpensive package of cubed beef stew? Same meat, 3 different menus because you're using different ingredients that you've got in your own pantries. And we've got a cheesesteak sandwich, which I definitely am gonna dig into. And then I've got a sauteed, pan-seared kind of cube beef that we cut into nice strips, put that over some minute rice, and then you've got yourself a delicious meal. And then of course a stew, which can keep for a couple days, or you can invite a friend over. Serve this with a couple crusty baguettes and a glass of red wine. And we'll see you next week with some more delicious meals, cooking for one, and then spreading the love.